old interweb fired up here. See if she'll work for us today. See if we paid the old internet bill, if you know what I'm saying. Let me know if audio's good. And welcome. Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate. I hope you are doing great. Um, I've been thinking about this a little bit, and I thought, maybe I should ask the community about what they think the economy is going to go. You know, and I'd love to hear anybody's opinion. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, left, right. I just like to hear what you think is going to happen. I think in a nutshell, I think there will be inflation. I think we'll see. I think we'll be paying for it. We always do as middle class people. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. Um, so it's just something that I thought maybe we could bring up for a topic tonight. Otherwise, you're also more than welcome to always ask any questions. Off topic is more than welcome. If you're getting into the business questions, all that good stuff. I see Evans in the house. I haven't read your comment there. I see you jumped in there though. I feel like there was something I was supposed to set up before I was doing this, but oh, I know what it is. I must know. Is audio okay? Is audio good still? Tony's got something here. I don't know what Tony's got. Oh, he must be doing something. Let's see if Tony's got. I see Rusty. Rusty, did you get my email? Do you got anything on the Genie? Does Genie even do it? The suspense is killing me. I don't think they do. They don't do it, do they? Tell me I was right. They don't have it. They don't have a direct couple. It does not exist. They won't give it to us amateurs. They only give it to the red ribbon. Let's do this. Right, here we go. We're firing her up. Welcome. All the good stuff in the house. Perfect. I think we're live. Stream, is it poaching? Was Tony on? Tony, I don't get no notification Tony was on. Is that why he's giving me the blip? That's okay. Stay over on Tony's. Like I said, I didn't even know he was on. It doesn't even notify me. Let me check. Make sure the whole phone doesn't have here. Oh man, I feel bad if I did. I have no notifications. This is ridiculous. What time Tony go on? We're gonna have to. We need better communication. We need better systems in place. Oh, I see it now. It says Tony is also live. Well, son of a biscuit. If I would have known that, I could have just stayed in my lazy boy and just made it nice and easy. Rusty's guys is my guys checking into it. He's top guy at the Pittsburgh, DC. So I'm gonna get an answer soon, he said. Oh, see, it makes me wonder though. Soon, you say, huh? Let me just double check. Let's see if what's like I said, I don't want to infringe here. If Mr. Tony, I'll see if I can even find if he's still up. Cause like I said, maybe we'll go over there and give him some crap. Where's it at? Let's see here. Oh yeah, shoot, man, he's still rocking it. Let's see if I can what's he doing? He's just getting back? Dang. I'll do what's up, big dog, right? There we go. Bam. See how it goes. Let's see here. Rusty says to Wayne Dalton, Dave. He says nothing happens quick. With the Wayne Dalton, I know. We've had so many problems that could make me cry. Honestly, how many problems we've had with Wayne Dalton lately? Oh, it's just sad. I'm wondering if doors are up here are gonna skyrocket. Ooh, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I guess we got that tariff going on the steel and the aluminum. So I don't know. Oh crap! Let's see here. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Definitely interesting. I have a feeling it's going to take. So I'll give you a little bit of my insight from what I've seen over the years, and I obviously have no crystal ball by any means. I have a gut feeling, total gut feeling, my opinion, 100%. I have a feeling it's going to take about at least a year, maybe a year and a half. It's just my feeling for things to kind of build some traction, right? The one reason I kind of always think about that is my one builder, the big builder. He always talked about, we always have that lame duck year, and then the big boys want to see who's going to be in the house, right? And typically, right, when it's a Republican, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the big guys will start spending some money. So I that's what I think, but I think it's going to take a while for those buildings and for this infrastructure, but I don't know how much, because you got to remember, like that's a drop in the bucket, to only be for, I consider it 3 years, because it always seems like their last year, it's kind of like they kafooey. They just kind of sit back and they're just like, we're going to be on vacation for the last year. We did our part. It's like they always come in really strong and then it'll just kind of plateau out. So I'm not quite sure, but you have to remember, right? And this is just from how I understand it, from the little bit of research I've done, right? The tariffs work on if you purchase. So if I'm a company right now, let's say Affordable Door and Gate, and we purchase doors from either Canada or Mexico, right? We get hit with the tariff. We pay that tariff, right? It's not so much from what I understand, on the countries. It's we pay it as we purchase it. So then we kind of go, they're getting kind of pricey. So we're gonna buy something in the States, in the United States. But the problem that can happen too is there's that thing called greed. I see, I think Tony went off. It just says, this is what it does at the very end, right? It says videos unavailable. Bummer. So what it is, you think about it, right? Let's use some logic in this. If I was a manufacturer and I know now it's more expensive for you to go across, my prices might go up a little bit more too. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, well, now let me lick my pencil here. Since now you got to stay in my wheelhouse, now not to say it's not going to, make more employees and stuff like that. So I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to see prices go down. I don't think we're going to see prices go down indoors. Probably not in food. It seems like when they always go up, they always sit right there. They might come down like 10 cents, but then it's like we jump $2 and everything goes. Evan says, I gave Rusty the quote I got for those 2 sections here nearly shit self. Well, hey, don't forget, Evan, you got to get I'm telling you, ask for sections only. I don't know if Rusty, can you comment on that? Like, do you get better? It's not going to be cheaper, but it's not that much more. Like I found out for us, like when we do sections only, it's only like a couple $100 more, but like if you were to do the individual sections, it's like 200, 250 a section, bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? But if you do sections only, it's like they give you a break, and it's a pretty good break. Every time I do it, I'm always like, I'm doing sections only, man. I'm not screwing around with, 2 sections. I'm getting the whole kit and caboodle. And then I'll swing it so the customer, won't basically won't say no. I go, for 2 sections. I mean, I've worked the numbers before where it's like the sections are more than the complete. And I go, I know. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't do this, go this way with it. Or I make it so like for $50, $100 more, you can get sections only. It's kind of a no brainer to me. Now it's because everything is bumped up in price. Don't get me wrong. But you know. Do 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 do. Rusty's guy says I was at Clopay this morning, and there was 4 other subs waiting to load. We all helped each other load so we could get out of there quicker. Nice. Everyone there was under 50. Interesting. That's nice. Like, it's kind of one of those things too. Like nowadays, I always look at it, like we're all just trying to put food on the table, right? I mean, it's not even like I said. We got competition in our town, and a few of them I'm good friends with. They're not really even competition. They're just we've had certain customers that we end up calling. We'll call each other and say, "Hey, this customer's on the loose, so hold to your price." You know what I mean? Because they will play this game. Well, I called your competition. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he was $100 cheaper. Well, sounds like you better go with him. They play those games, those rotten people. Sometimes they do that, but that's nice. And what's nice if you have other people helping you load the doors, um, more than likely you guys know how to handle the doors versus sometimes temp or just workers that really just don't care. Where other garage door people respect that we don't slam or kink or throw doors up on top of ladder racks. That's a big one, and do the jerk right as they go up. The jerk where it kinks them. That's always a big one. Nobody wants no dent doors. Doesn't make any extra money. 20 something, he says. I see Sean is texting. What's up, Mr. Sean? Let's see here. Clope, we're on to the next. Evan says, a lot of uncertainty up here since we are going to elect someone sometime this year. They don't have like a set date. I mean, when's it's kind of weird. It's weird how that stuff works. I'm fascinated, honestly. It fascinates me. Perfect. I think we're doing good here. Certainty. It was 656 per section. Right. But did you ask them? I just don't know if Evan. I don't know if he asked them. Just for it's a different terminology. Garage door guys know it. If it's I don't know if this is like, I don't know if that lumberyard place or whatever. Home. What was it called? It's not Home Depot. It's Home Hardware or something like that. I don't know if that's like a lumberyard or if that's actually a garage door company. So maybe you can let me know in the comments on that, because but if you tell them, say, it's the word is, it's sections only. I just want sections only, which is going to be a complete, but except minus the hardware. Sometimes for whatever reason, it'll come up a little bit more, but not a lot. You know what I mean? And so I always get door sections. I get the bottom and the intermediate for bottom damage. And then I will do, I want sections only is at least what we call it. I don't know. So, whoops. Going off there. All right, let's see here. Clope, a lot of uncertainty, says it was 6 something. Rusty says I always buy the whole door. I think it's only saves like 100 or 200. Then I keep the extra parts. Yeah, you could do that too. You know what I mean? When it comes to business, to me, it's like war. And I'm always telling the guys, I'm always like, you don't go to the battlefield, right? You don't go in the trenches and the ditches, right? And you only bring one bullet, right? You want a lot, and I mean a lot of ammunition. So to me, it's like, even if you do something like what Rusty's saying, I keep the sections or keep the extra. That's cool. That's cool. But what's great is those sections are at least at your shop or in a warehouse or in a tarp in the backyard, whatever. And if you go to put something together, and for some reason it's like, it's clicky clack, it's doing something funny, or the customer's like, I really don't like that. My wife is really upset. You go, well, for another X amount of dollars, I could replace the rest. I do have some, or I can get some, or they had some there. They ordered in. You just fluff whatever you got to fluff. Dun. But I cringe every time, especially if you get like two sections in. One section, not so bad for like a standard door, like a 16 by 7 door. But when you get like two or three in, forget it. It's just a complete door in a sense, or at least sections only, depending on what conditions. Because sometimes there's customers that just replace the springs, they're 2 years old, and you have to make that judgment call. Dun. Evans guys, if I'm going to tell them to look into getting a new door through their home insurance policy, yeah, it might not be a bad idea, especially with those prices. Um, but that can always be it's a really, man, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I feel for you. I feel for you, Evan, because this is a very there's so much stuff that goes into um logistics behind the scenes, right? Before something even starts. I think Mr. Caleb even went to a job today, and for whatever reason, he probably didn't do enough due diligence. I think he was up there maybe for a friend up in that area too. But the customer, he sent me some pictures, and there's no concrete. And I said, "Ooh," especially up here in Michigan, it's really cold right now. And I said, "Ooh." I said, and it's like weird. There's like a dirt bank, like they need to plow that dirt bank out to make that thing even usable. It's like all like just wavy hills and stuff. And I said, "Ooh," I said, "You're doing it on dirt floors." And in my mind, I'm already going, that's like another, half of the job extra work. You got stuff in the dirt. You need to you got to have sawhorses to bring stuff up and elevate. You got to try to level stuff out without the concrete thing being there. You're taking the chance of somebody, when the concrete is installed, the door still isn't sitting right, and you got another service call to come back up there. And how do you justify that? Do you eat it? Do you charge them? Now, obviously, we know you should charge them, right? But when you're a greenhorn, typically you don't. And the problem is it's not. I think it's a long distance loser in a sense. So I said, "Woo!" I said, "Man," I said, "You're going to be married to this one." And he said, "Well, yeah, something about should I just tell him wait?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Wait till there's concrete." So it's too cold. They're not going to do it right now, and wait till there's concrete. And then I said, "You'll be in warmer temperatures, and you'll have concrete. Life will be a lot better. A lot easier." And it already looks like it's a weird. They wanted it like with high lift, but there's no room for high lift. It's a weird situation. So I don't even know. How you get when you look at a job and you're like, that job looks, like already from the get go, like, this is not going to go smoothly. It doesn't look that bad, but there's something that's bad about it. Dun, dun, dun. But with insurance, the problem is too is, you know, now insurance is only going to cover that door. And then insurance is really weird. I've had certain customers, not to say this customer would do it, but I've had it too where they'll send the customer the money, right? Which is always crappy. So you do all the work, the paperwork and all that and all the stuff behind the scenes, present them with an estimate or whatever. They submit it, they get a check, and then they find somebody or figure out how to fix it themselves because there's now time being built, and they're going, maybe I should check YouTube, or my buddy said he used to work on them at work. Let me ask him, or they get all this and they go, I can live with a dent in it or whatever, or I found somebody else, or the insurance says, well, we need you to get 3 quotes. Sometimes that happens too. And then depending on which way they go, right? A company comes in and goes, we can just change out the 2 panels. Okay, that's fine with them. Another company goes in, why don't we get you a new door? And they're like, really? Like, yeah, we'll just and we'll get you another door. That'll just be we'll mark it up just, and maybe their cost for the door is like half of what you can get it for. I've had that happen before too. Whew. I see Sky jumped in at the bottom there. Cheers. Thanks, Sky. I need a drink anyways. Hope you're doing good. Hope you like the thumbnail, right? Got the Nissan with a little box on her. It's pretty cool. Everson, probably insurance. He said it could be spring. Trudeau is replaced. Well, maybe. Trudeau seemed like he really liked that power, man. He liked being up there telling you about those tariffs. We're gonna have a little trading war, man. I don't know if he wants to give up that power now. It's like he got something, he got a little spank. Evan, that 16 by 21 Clopay section T50 did today it was $178. I know the prices are way different. We were talking about that a little bit, me and Evan, how some of the prices are crazy. A lot higher up there than here. Charged 1820, and that included new bottom rubber. The bottom rubber. Evan's got Home Hardware is similar to Home Depot, but buildings are usually a little smaller. Got it. Huh. Well, there you go. See, that's another one you could do, Evan. Get a chance when you're going in there, getting out of the parking lot, take a little video on the inside. That'd be pretty cool to see kind of how that works. So if they're doing that, I wonder, will they deliver? Have you asked them too? Will they deliver the doors to the customer or to a location, and for how much? That'd be something too, That's why I'm always a big fan, man. You gotta deal with, like, whoever works with you, and whoever treats you the best. That's how I look at it. And you gotta watch the numbers sometimes. Some places are a little bit on the greedy side, and you gotta make the numbers work. But I really have a hard time, especially for you, Evan. Like, if you're going somewhere in another dealership or whatever, and it's 2 hours away. No, that does not make sense to me. I cringe at the one that's 45 minutes to an hour away from us. That's one way. There's got to be, and to be honest, if it was me and there's that big of gap, I would probably really entertain keeping my eyes out for a building or something or somewhere I could lease. I might want to do a lease, just my opinion, where if I could lease it instead of getting into, it's kind of like what I've been telling Caleb, it's like, instead of, like, you know, going into a house that's just going to cost you money, that's not going to make you a dime. It's going to take all kinds of money out of your pocket. If you could do a building and you do, like, whatever, you crash in the back, you whatever it works out to be. If you can do that in a lifestyle. Now, when I think about, like, back when I don't know Evan's situation, but when I was a single man, man, I didn't need much. I had a point in my life where I literally rented out my house. I stayed in the garage. My garage was a fully equipped power, water, sewer. I had a fridge. I had a TV on top of the fridge. It was one room. I started out with, I did kind of a quick move into it. And I started out with a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. That's how I bathed myself, literally with a cup, and I finally bought a little electric heater. And I finally got it plumbed. And man, I was living the dream, baby, to have running water above my head. It was a miracle. And then I finally got a hula hoop. Yeah, hula hoop. Made me a hula hoop shower curtain because I had a drain that went to the sewer and stuff. But it was hooked into the toilet or whatever. It was all done correctly. It was more for, like, a kind of like a man cave. And then I just turned it into a full-fledged. I divided it from the garage, and had a bed in the corner, had a furnace in the other corner, natural gas one. You don't need much, especially for actually my wife. She stayed out there with me for a little bit too. It was it was kind of weird. I had income coming, right? I was renting a house, and I was staying in the garage. I pull in, boom, I walk in. It was just like at a door, you walk into, like, a house, but it was just into a one-room apartment, I guess. Worked out pretty nice. Just do what you got to do. But what I'm getting at is, if you lease something, I got off track with there. Sorry. I was thinking about how much fun I had back in the day. But what I was saying is, if you lease a building or something like that, like I said, maybe there's a niche that you could turn in where you could help more people that They don't have that luxury where if they could come to you and buy stuff and you can mark it up, 5, 10% or more, whatever, you know what I mean? And they could buy stuff from you. Because for you, it doesn't sound like there's much. For us, I mean, let's see here. If you go out to the one town over by the shop, we got, gosh, we probably got at least 4 to 5 easy vendors that'll deal with us all day long. And then when you include the box stores, I mean, we got 5, so 6, 7, 8. Then we got our lumber yards. So we probably got 8, 9, 10, 11. We got somewhere between 12, probably 12 and 15 places where we could go pick up doors from somebody. You know what I mean? That are relatively within 45 minutes to an hour. Some of them are obviously under, but says probably look at that. It says Evan 16. There's that. Home Hardware, Home Depot, usually a little smaller. Cheers, Rusty Evan. That's right, Mr. Sky. Any projects? Yes, any projects, Sky. What openers are putting on carriage house doors? I'm not liking the 3/4 house or 3/4 horse with the reinforced T-rail. Interesting. They are just not moving the door. The older ones with dials for force adjustments worked okay. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. 4-inch thickness. Holy moly, man. Man. So let's see. Sky says 16x7. Belt or chain. Gosh, if you're going 4 inches thick, man, I'd be really pushing towards chain drive. I'm really surprised. The iDrives or the iRails is what I call them. Those always normally work pretty good, but what could you go with? I would say go with a Genie screw drive, but I know it's going to need a mid support. I about guarantee it. It's going to have flex in it. It'll power it. I mean, those things are pretty much unstoppable, those bigger motors. But I know the rail will flex. That's the problem. And I think they do have an adapter. It pinches onto it and then it has like a single piece. But Genie honestly it's just not the sexiest opener I've seen. You know what I mean? Like I'm like normally I always think about those. It's just so sad that they got rid of the ATS. ATS was always a bulletproof opener too. The regular ATS. I can't even think of any other openers that are kind of monsters. I think of right off the top of my head. You got Genie, you got the LiftMaster. Can't think of anybody else that'd have a monster opener. I just don't feel like I'd be dealing with a belt on something like that. I mean, that belt would be sagging. It'd be all just herky jerky if they stop it midway. I think that's why I like the screw drives. Everything seems like it's channeled with the C channel. See, channeled with the C channel. It just seems like it's channeled with that screw drive. It just seems like it's all right there. That way, if they got to do a mid stop, because you get people that do weird stuff, man. I like letting my kitties out in the morning. Okay, I like letting my doggies out. Okay, I like letting my kids out and not letting the heat out. Okay, But when they do that weird like intermittent stop stuff, you know what I'm talking about. The stuff flexes or it does something weird, and you're like, ooh, don't be doing that. What's up, Mr. Tony? Says, oh, too funny. Says Dave, we just started watching it. He says from the beginning. Yes, Tony. We got to come up with a Batman signal. I never got no notification. That's grand old YouTube for you, right? I know Evan has the same problem here. People have all the same problems, right? They don't get notified. I don't know what's been happening. I don't think I've been notified. I don't know when last one you did, Tony. Honestly, I think it's been maybe a couple days. I haven't seen nothing. I think I've seen a short, something with the clamps, but I didn't quite understand the ratchet, how the ratchet tightened up it. I didn't see close enough, so I seen the short. Good short. What charges, Dave, what charges / improvements are you going to do to your business in 2025? Well, that's a great question. Right now, haven't searched real hard, but I am looking to probably increase our residential. Um, we need a little bit of residential right now to keep some of the fluff for the guys in a sense. And we are focusing more on pictures from the secretaries, pictures from the secretaries. So pre-qualifying the customer in advance. So we're doing that with Jobber. Jobber, where is my hat? I have to mark one of these. I'm going to do one of these videos with Jobber on it, so I get some attention on that. I want a Jobber hat. Been using them for years. I want a Jobber hat. But so we are focusing on pictures, and if there's not going to be pictures, there needs to be a description of why there's not pictures, because there was 2 today, and the one one of the secretaries asked others, said, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And turns out they said it was through 2 different secretaries, and through an elderly, both were elderly. So it was like, that's fine, but we need notes explaining why there was not pictures, because that's my first thing, right? I've been trying to help out Cap and stuff. When I jump in there, I need to know details. Like, I need to be a nobody. Like, I don't live in this thing. I just jump in and I go, we got a problem here. Where's the pictures? And I can tell because we just had one yesterday. They did get pictures, and it was a wood door. It had extension springs. It was like a 9x7. That's just my guess. And so you could see it maybe need a little chunk of wood, like a 1x something to fur it out. It's going to be a spring conversion. It was already quoted. I think somewhere between, I don't know what it exactly was. It was $500 or $600 for a spring conversion, single spring, 9x7. You're going to need bearing plates. You're going to need a center bracket. So you might as well get all that stuff ready and prepared, right? For whoever the technician is going to go out there. So things of that, there's some stuff that slipped through the cracks. The other thing is I want them to make sure they're also checking where they're getting the leads. How did they hear about us? Facebook, online, referral, because those are important. So that's kind of one of them. Still on the debate, I did find out that the older vans have the 6-speed transmission through my mechanic. So hallelujah to that. He said the 8-speed have problems. I don't know how many, but they have problems, the torque converters. So the older vans are actually a little bit better. I don't know if they went to a 10-speed now for the brand new ones. I'd like to see one more newer vehicle be put into the fleet, but I don't know for sure. If not, at least the other vans, all 3 probably will go in for the service treatment of being basically wool wax or whatever you want to call it, where it has this fluid film, whatever. It's similar to that. I tested on a couple vehicles this year, and stuff works pretty good. It creeps, and I can wash it off, and it still creeps through the whole winter. So I'm pretty impressed with that. So I think that's going to make the longevity of the vehicles last longer. But we still have there's still stuff to improve on. So we got the scissor lift changed out. So that's working good. The old one, I'm not quite sure I'm going to do with it. I thought about possibly checking with the other one on weekends and stuff just to cover this one. I haven't explored it yet, but I thought about it, possibly of renting it on just the weekends, just to help cover some of the costs, because it's only whatever $460 a month. So for $150 a month, or I mean for a weekend, maybe get it 1 or 2. It just help, and it just might be another stream of revenue. Don't know. I did do a post on it. I think it was in a day and a half to 12. It ended up getting like 1,800 views. I got a few people that messaged me, but I got flagged because that's how Facebook is. So I'm trying to work with the algorithms. But what about you? Rusty, you got any for this year? You got any ideas or any of you guys, honestly? I think it's going to be good. I think hopefully Mr. T is going to get interest rates down, which is not going to, it's good, but it's not good. But I'm going to try to capitalize on it. I got some properties I'd like to free up. Um, you know, I'd like to do the moving of the cups, you know. Do 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 do. Business, Rich B's in the house. The bat symbol is up. You'd have to have a 1/4 inch ratchet. Says with the C clamps, vice grip, and a 1/4 inch slot on the end. You have to send me some pictures. Maybe you have to do a post of them or something too. I didn't quite understand how it grabbed it. I seen you like take it, and I was like, "Well, how does it like go?" I never seen a pair of C vice grips, whatever we call them, C clamps, with anything with that except for the little grippy knobs. Rusty says, "I saw that, Tony. I liked it. I'm just dumb. Couldn't figure it out." I was like, I can't see. Visual, you know me. What does it say? Projects are cleaning the yard and planting a food forest, trimming trees, etc. Nice. Getting another flock of, what's this called? Is it beaks together? This is I'm down to 8-year-old and she is lonely. Nice. Got a whole list of things, man. Good for you. I'm telling you, the more you can stay that independent life, right? All that stuff, man, helps. Instead of being controlled by the man. Money is way better per hour for service. Okay, everyone can slap a new one in, then use a can of oil and get down the road. Nobody can fix them. Oh yes, I gotta help. Tomorrow I gotta help Cap. We got, I guess, one of our techs. It's not his fault. It was a kind of it was a complicated one, but it's some kind of power issue. They have a switch that shuts the power off, and I know it sounds simple, but you're talking about an old DPW that's had many hands. This is probably its 6th opener that's ever been up there, and there's all kinds of ziggy zag, wookie wooks. So we're gonna go there tomorrow and do some focusing, some meditation. Lift's already there, which is great. I guess it's even plugged in. Oh yeah. So we're looking good. We should be all set up for success, hopefully. So I'm going to bring, I forget what Tony calls it, the spanky, whatever it's called, the tester. I'm going to bring that just for crap and giggles. I'm going to make sure I bring a roll of wire in case we got to drape some wires to test for continuity. It's I don't know what size those doors. I think they're 16 by 14s, or at least 14 by 14. They're pretty big for the, what you call it. The service, huh? The service. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. I think it's kind of a mixed. I don't know. Service on track is most profitable because you have to take it all apart and you can't easily buy the track. Well, I mean, you think about it in a nutshell. It's kind of like that guy told me years ago, right? That I went to, and I was like, Ken, we need to replace it, because that's how my old business partner was. He was always a big replace. And to some degree, I agree, because it's easier. I mean, it's newer, it's modern, it's easier to diagnose. Like I was literally thinking about you guys today as I was putting that gate operator, and I was just like putting wires. I got my little heater, got my radio going, and I'm just like, you guys got it so easy. I'm like, I used to have to deal with like all this relay logic crap that like would just have numbers. And if you didn't have the cheat sheet, you didn't know what this crap went to, where this stuff's all labeled, like it says, here's open, here's common, here's close, here's stop. And then it'll tell you like a code, an error code. And then it'll tell you on the sheet what that means. And it's just so much more user friendly in a sense than it ever was for me. So I just think about a lot of it, with the internet, and there's so much, and there's a lot of stuff. Like I even kind of had a few things, like I had the voltage, I had to flip the voltage, the high voltage to make the motor run right. Cause I'm like, it says it's doing this. It's on its close limit, but it's running the wrong way. What is going on? I'm like, it's gotta be this 3-phase voltage crap. So I switched them, and I thought, I sure don't want to call tech support. It's like, I'm so over tech support nowadays. They just seem like they're just so numb nowadays compared to, at least, I used to talk to people in our own state, and now it's like you don't know who you're gonna get or where you're gonna be talking to or what, did you turn the power on? Yes, I turned the power on. I'm not stupid, like, well, we have to ask, we have to go through this list, you know. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. This guy's got the Facebook. So I'm looking. I don't know if I mentioned that. I was looking for somebody to do. I have no clue. So if anybody's got any recommendations on who to use on the Facebook, I don't even know where to like really start. I went past our old advertiser that used to be like back in the day, like 15 years ago. They're not even in business anymore. So I'm like, you know, and I didn't realize I was watching something the other night, and it was talking about how the reason sometimes your listings get put in other states is because they have the same county, right? So, if you use a certain county name, well, that might be in 4 other states. You know what I mean? I never thought about that. So that's one of those things where I hate for your listing, and then it eats up all your money, or it says, we got you this many impressions. And it's like, yeah, but they're in other states. Cause I see it all the time for mine too. I get all kinds of weird listings, and I'm like, I almost want to be like, do you come this way? You say you do 299 spring changes, can you come this way? You're out of your mind. Well, why you're advertising in my area? Is it ascending operations? Going to be a great year. Hoorah. Let's hope so. Boy, I hope so. Any predictions on why you think it's going to be, or just kind of feel it? See the economy's, got any builders or anybody you're talking to? Any proof of the pudding? Tony's guy says, I'm hiring somebody in March 1st, and we're gonna hammer out residential, nibble in commercial in 2025. Ooh, man, the commercial. I love me some commercial. I sure do. It's a different animal though. I would definitely want 2 people if I did commercial when I'm starting out, because there was a point where we started doing 2 or 3 or 5, and it was like we couldn't be in one place at the same time, and you got to kind of cater to those people to some degree. And it's like tomorrow, it'll be Cap and myself, and we're going to be bouncing ideas off each other. And sometimes it's just a way easier, especially if you've got somebody pushing the buttons or testing something, or somebody walks up and you need to talk to them for a few minutes, the other guy can keep working. I've ran into that many a times. So it's definitely a 2-person operation most of the time. Not always, doesn't have to be, but that's in my experience. It is. I definitely like having 2 people to do commercial. Do, 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 do. What do we got here? To replace the right side. Place the right side only. Low headroom track, flag, side track, 1,075. Track left over from sections only. So if I can do an hour, that's $1,000 per hour. He says I have 2 different tracks this week. No, yeah. Like you said, if it works out. If it works out, if the numbers, like I said, most of the time we find out, a lot of the commercial um, you know, they don't flinch, or if it's service, or however the math works out. Do do do. Rusty says I sent Tony the proof. Rich says Rich B's guy says, and a brute winder. Oh yeah, get yourself a brute winder. Is that for me? I don't know. You got to get the guys to use it. I'll use it. They got one. They got that one job. I think that's a 3 or 4 door job. Hopefully, we're gonna try to team up a lot and just knock that one out, because that's a little bit of a could turn into a long distance loser. It's a distance. What does it say? Sending operations. It says Mardio something here. It says it left the building custom homes to start a door company. Kind of a brother company off of my buddies who's in Arizona. I'm in the East Texas. That's interesting. Let me see if I can take a snappy of this for a second. Just for the heck of it. Where is it at? Perfect. He's got the winder. Yeah, we knew what it was, Mr. Rich B. The winder. Rich, you got anything in the pipeline? What's coming up? What's coming up next? You got anything? It's still kind of quiet over in your neck of the woods. I know residential's been pretty quiet for us. For us, it's been more commercial. Gate. What do we have? An opener. We got the gates. Service had them. One's that freezer. Waiting on parts. That's a big one right now. Waiting for stuff to come in, sections, parts. Did a commercial job with the new guy today, and he asked me if he was going to have to do this by himself. I said no. I said no. 2 men. 2 men, 2 men. Yeah, it's better to be over manpowered when it comes to that stuff sometimes than under, that's for sure. Tony says, use the brute winder today. Ooh, look at that. Had to dust it off. Dynamic door service is the same. Interesting. And you said the one, what is it? It says they left the building, custom homes, start a door company. I don't know. I don't know about that. I just don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to me because I don't know. And every market's different. You know what I mean? But I look at that and I go, homes, you can sub a lot of stuff out. I can't say there's better margins, but it's kind of like the Tommy. You know, I don't think Tommy's so much. I'd like to meet Tommy. Got any hookups? Let me know. I don't think it's so much about. I think it's pushing more of their stuff than it is maybe so much the doors. Door business. I don't know. That I don't know. Ooh. Is that Tyler, Texas? Tony says I used to live there. Tyler hung doors there. Snow tomorrow. Sold the door today. Nice. What size, Mr. Rich? 16 by 7, 9 by 7, 7 by 8, 7 wide. I seen somebody's a competitor, I guess, a little farther away. He's selling a 7 by 8. I went, I bet that was somebody's misorder. I've had that happen. The secretary door comes in. It's like, what the? Why would it be 7 wide and 8 tall? Well, that's what they said. No. Did you verify it? No. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's 8 by 7. I'll guarantee you. It ain't 7 wide, 8 tall. Snow tomorrow. Yes, we are expecting snow. I think around 1 p.m. is what they're talking about. So that's like that kind of sweet. That's kind of a perfect time because that way everybody can get into work. Everybody can kind of get a full day in pretty much. It'll start. Everybody can get home and get tucked away before it gets too bad. Now the next day, hopefully they have enough heads up that the crew will be out snow plowing and salting good enough that that day won't be shot. Dun-dun-dun, snow tomorrow. Rusty says, Dave, do you charge a minimum amount to come out and then diagnose and give price? Do you charge a minimum? Yes. We pretty much we are pretty much anything is free over the phone. I'll even spend an hour with you on the phone and do FaceTime and then help a customer. That's how I look at it. The secretaries, the one is a little more experienced, so she will work with them too about like photo eyes and stuff like that. I have no problem with that. But when that truck is leaving, that customer needs to understand very clearly that we are coming out and we are going to collect a service call. And sometimes it'll get, depending on what the job, you can apply it if you want, or it's just going to be there's a service call and then it's additional, but you need to collect something, or you're going out there to collect half down. We make it very clear that once we come in your driveway, like there is going to be a service call, pretty much no matter what we're doing. That's why we try to get pictures, understand what's going on, so we can also qualify them, give them a heads up that it's like, okay, we can see you got a broken spring or you have extension springs. Like the one they did the other day, that was perfect. We had pictures. It was already in the notes, $500 to $600 to do a spring conversion has already been talked about. The customer understood that it's a minimum of, I think it was 140 to come out. They understood that. So like everything was covered, which is great. That way there's no surprises and the customer doesn't fall over when they hear prices and they go, oh, how much? No. You've already, it takes a lot off the technician, which is great. Snow tomorrow. I'd say with our commercial too, it's a little bit they're kind of a different animal. Like we're charging and we charge more. I don't know it off the top of my head, but we'll go out there and then you normally charge them like the drive time and stuff like that too. So like we had one, it was a photo eye issue. I wasn't super thrilled to hear it was where it was. It was probably hour and 15-minute drive one way with this as a lift and truck. But I think they charged, whatever it was, 3 to 4 hours for that trip. And basically maintenance guy already kind of fixed something. The only thing we could have done better was call because it happened on a Thursday or Friday, I forget. And they did it Monday. We could have called and said, hey, did you, but the problem is we're going through a third party company, which in a nutshell is kind of good because the third party like almost doesn't care what the price is. They're the third party and they just call us and dispatch us. So we didn't have the maintenance person who to call, but the technician went out there, but luckily he did the right thing. And he ended up doing basically PM. He did find something that was flapping in the wind that could have crossed the photo eye that could have caused part of that problem. So he also fixed that while I was out there. So thank goodness, because man, we definitely don't want to go out there for nothing. And that's a long trip, but I guess it's one of those ones that, the way I understand it is they can hit them really, really hard. I mean, they got like 6 or 8 different companies they could use. And if for some reason they use us and they pay it. So I guess we'll eat some tires. I'm closer to Longview. I'm in Gimmer. Custom, what it says, custom homes is a huge stress, and dealing with tons of subs sucks. I'm sure. And margins are not the best. Yeah, I can imagine. I think it's kind of how do you say it? It's kind of everywhere in a sense. Tommy had Was this is this SOP says job to my buddy's shop when he first started out. What's that? What is this called? Had it. What is it? What is it, S job? I don't know what that is. I keep watching a lot of the automotive places. Oh, shop. Okay, shop. Okay, got it. Had a shop next to your buddies there. Got it. Um, we're having a lot of problems sometimes with a lot of the product too. So, sounds like automotive's having a lot of that too. They're ordering OEM stuff. They take 3 or 4 things until they find a good one. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of across the industry, across the board with a lot of things, which is a real booger sometimes. 16x7, nice. Hopefully with Rich B's there, 16x7, all standard lift, no high lift or low headroom, just standard. If you get a chance, Rich, you should send me a few of those pictures of it. I'm just interested. I'm curious. I was like seeing that. Tony says, I thought it was freezing rain, Rich. Not for us. They're talking like 4 to 8 inches of white stuff. Yuck. Snow does nothing for me. Nothing. I don't think I mind the cold. I could live with the cold, but the snow, you got to move it. You got to shovel it. You can't drive in certain places with it because it's too high. The roads, the salt, just ugh. Rusty says, what is your conversation ratio on customers who go ahead with the work? It normally goes pretty good with the customers. It's not like we get a lot of so like for instance in our area, we have a lot of the companies in our area don't answer the phones. So our edge is that we answer the phone. That's why, we have 2 secretaries and then it will filter down to basically 2 other people. So we can catch their phone calls. Um, so that's a big trick that I've learned over the years. So we answer our phones and we can get back to them if for some reason they go through 4 and they miss one. We can get back to them within a couple minutes. But people normally don't really have a problem. You know what I mean? I think they like it because we were so transparent, just like when we were so slammed. One of the secretaries was saying that the customers were praising her for giving for another competition or competitor to use. Um, because and it's really weird because now that I'm on the other side and I have to deal with contractors, it's I start to understand it. You know what I mean? Where I kind of go, it's almost like I can't give the money out fast enough because when you find good people, right, you want to use them, you know what their work's going to be like, you know how their process and procedures work, and you know they're going to show up, you know they're going to deliver. Um, that's to me is like worth double in the money. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to deal with it. I can write a check. I don't have to deal with the you know, because I've dealt with you know crummy customer or with crummy contractors and it's nothing but babysitting. It's nothing, like, I got the money to go, go get the supplies. And you're like, are you serious? There's a lot of babysitting. So the fact that we show up, we really stride really hard to, take care of the customers, at any cost. I mean, we've had jobs, obviously, I'm sure we've all experienced, we've ate it, but that's why I'm also a big fan about staying, you know, keep it small, keep it all, or stay 5 mile famous because you can deliver so much better customer service than when you travel. Because you don't want to drive out there if you forgot something or you mistakenly did something or the customer did something, they stuck a broom, they didn't tell you, and they said that door you just installed 2 weeks ago, the cable came off, and you're like, that's odd. And you get out there, you can't figure out why, and they already hid the broom or something like that, where it's like you'll never know. Do, 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 do. Tony says, no, Tony says, I'm getting snow 4 to 8, same as us. Same as us. Oh, standard. Nice. Easy peasy. Nice. Nice. That's always nice, man. It seems like, man, we've got a lot of low headroom or something goofy. Rusty says, did you have a lot of people saying no before you put a minimum charge in? I don't know if I remember wasting a lot of time. I remember that because we go out there, we look at it, we didn't get the job, we tell them this, we didn't charge. So I don't know if I'm quite answering that right. It says, did you have a lot of people saying no before you put a minimum charge in? No, not with residential. Um, and like I said, I'm talking more on the residential. The commercial, we handle that totally different. Those numbers normally come to us directly. It either come to me or it come to Cap or whoever's basically in charge of that. Sometimes the secretaries they call the secretaries because sometimes they email some of them. Some are text people. We just cater to them however works best, and whoever's a good fit for them normally keeps dealing with them. But on the residential side, customers it's like residential like to waste your time. You know what I mean? And the thing is like some of them know it and some of them don't know it. They don't understand, right? But I'm sure if anybody's been doing this long enough, we've all gone to I've called 3 other companies, or we showed up and there's another competitor there, or, something got mistaken or left all kinds of weird stuff happens. But I've had more problems with residential than I ever had with commercial. And the residential is price sensitive versus the commercial doesn't seem as price sensitive. Sometimes they got to get quotes on certain things, but if it's a repair, just fix it, take care of it. Even like that gate that you've been seeing me work on, the gate operator. I mean, it's so relaxed and it's closed, which is great. I can show up there whenever I want and do whatever I want. And it's convenient. The stores are close, although they're major stores. So, I could do a superior, nice job without a lot of stress. But if it was, I know Cap had one of the guys go up to one that's about 45 minutes an hour away, and supposedly it was going to have power, right? Technician got up there, there's no power. So he did what he could, but there was no power to finish, or keep going with the job, even though there was. Now there could have been probably some other steps to make sure you call, but now he's kind of turning into the GC, and it's just eh, it's too far away. It's just it is what it is. We're into it, but it's one of those things. You get to that 45 minutes to an hour and 15. Yeah, it's like in my mind, I always tell myself, I go, I'd rather do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 residential jobs. And that's where I think we're going to try to ramp up the residential because I'd rather do those. And even if you're only making 100, 200, 300, 500, 1.2 million on them, they're local. You know what I mean? They're your screw up, but they're local. You're 5 Mile famous. You're close. You can fix it. You can handle it. Everybody across the board knows how to do it. But when you get to some of this other stuff, when it comes to like the gates and stuff like that, you start stretching it out 45 minutes to an hour, that's pushing it. You know what I mean? And then you only got certain people you can send to that. It's not like you can send everybody, but when it comes to residential, everybody knows how to do residential. You know what I mean? Even my daughters know how to do residential, you know? Let's see. Standard. It's hard to find. Sending operations is hard to find good subs. Definitely a lot of babysitting. It is. It is. It's super hard. I think society is not going to get any easier. This is my theory. This is what I've kind of put together in my basically almost my 42 years of existence. Most people, including myself, right, Most people never came from a farm. We lost so much from people not working on the farm. You know what I mean? You think about when you watch those old videos and stuff like that, and those guys and people had to get up at, 3 o'clock, 4 a.m. I hear the stories, right? I had a buddy that even had a milk farm and they had to be milked twice a day and all this. And, have to get up super early. And, I'm watching a little video the other day, even how on a welder and how many things you could fix in the farm with a welder. And we take stuff so for granted. And I think about the one guy that was working with me the one day, and he could not even start a two-stroke engine. And I mean, I'm standing over there doing something, digging a hole or whatever, and I can just smell the gas puking out of this thing. And it's like, dude, it's like that thing is flooded. And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, give it to me. Let me get it running. I get it running. Then he's over there dogging it because it's supposed to have RPMs. It's a saw for cutting concrete. My uncle tells him, dude, you're going to burn up the clutch in that thing. You got to rev that thing, and I'm thinking why? And I go, well, I mean, for instance, this guy basically gets Section 8. At least he wasn't a thief. He was a good dude. He was good for digging holes. But he didn't know, he's never owned a house. He never came from a farm. He never even had to run a weed whacker. He has to find $50 a month and they pay the other 500 for the Section 8 and he gets it for life, I guess, because that's what he told me. And he was already there for like 5 or 6 years now. And he has no motivation to ever do anymore because he's getting government handouts. So, no car, always pinching a ride. He's always got money to go play pool, but and he wasn't a drinker as far as I know, or did drugs, but nice dude, but he just a little off the rocker. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's like I just look at it and I go, a lot of people, and I don't see it getting any better because now what a lot of people don't realize, what I have noticed, especially when it first kind of came out, right? When we started seeing the Facebook, how many subs, how many workers are you going to have? How many friends, employees, whatever they are on their phones? You tell me what you think, right? If somebody's spending, 15, 20 minutes, an hour a day, wouldn't you kind of consider that theft? Isn't that kind of stealing? Isn't that wasting company time? Couldn't they be doing something on Facebook or whatever it is and potentially improving the business, your company? But that's the thing, right? We don't have that, right? Because we send people out. So there's a lot of lost production in our industry, a lot, you know, that you have to weigh in. And then you have to weigh in that, you know, there's just a ton of other things. You're training somebody else to be your competition. You can't just crack open their brain and pull out the information and pull it into the next guy. Um, it's why I think a lot of it, I keep going. I tell myself, I go, that's why I never see no big, unless there's some kind of franchise, but even if they're franchise, they're independently owned, basically. They're using a system, right? But they have the motivation. And there's a lot of, it's a, what did I see the other day? It's like an active cash flow versus a passive. Even though I don't think those are 100% real passive unless you do just like investing, like on the stock market. But we have to do active. We're doing active cash flow is what we're all doing. Great. You go do a job. You made a bunch of money. Great. You know what I mean? Okay. You did a good job and you don't get rewarded for doing a good job because now it's not going to keep consistently paying you. And that's why if you can do a preventative maintenance, well, now you got a customer that's also going to, you're providing a service, which I think is a good service. It's just no different than us doing oil changes on cars. Garage doors need it too. There's so many things I catch when I go back to stuff and I do preventative maintenance and it saves you. It makes you look good. It's a way to make a little bit of cash flow. And especially when you get a lull, you can look at and go, well, that we're supposed to do that next month, but I'm going to push it this month. Hey, you're a month, but a month or 2 or 3 is not going to make the end of the world for garage doors. Typically. Now we don't want to let our oil changes go that far, 10,000, 20, 100,000, but what's up, Katie? Come over here and say hi. Let's see here. To be, let's say before I put a minimum, it's hard finding good. Says so true, Mr. Rich B. So no wants to no Eric Scott. What's up, Mr. Freeze? Freeze, did you get to see that live the other day? I ran that operator for you. I was just thinking about you for something else. What was I thinking about? I feel like you told me something, and I was like, I gotta buy that. Oh, it was those wrenches. I was like, if he's talking probably good about those wrenches from Harbor Freight, I gotta get me some. I gotta go get me some. I need some new ratchet wrenches. I haven't had ratchet wrenches. I don't think I haven't bought new ratchet wrenches probably. It could have been about 4 years now or longer, 4 to 6 years. I bought a few, about that one gear set, and they just blew apart on me. The gear wrench. I was like, these things used to be so good. I used to love these things. I had two of them or three of them. The heads just popped, and it wasn't even like I was straining them. I was like, this is ridiculous. That's right. Nobody wants to be a long distance loser. Tony's got what's Tony got? Tony's always got good stuff. I found the older the person, the less babysitting you have to do, and by far better workers. Yeah, sorry, youngsters. Those young bucks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, I can't disagree. I can't disagree or agree. I'm kind of on the fence. It's tough because I think sometimes I've seen it depends, right? So so here's my blowback stories. I've had older, right? And they've had way more years of experience. The problem was it was kind of sometimes like maybe that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. A little bit, just a little bit. Trust me, they didn't have the mindset of wanting to do that. They also were very rough around the edges, let's just say. So my picking out of people probably wasn't the best at the time, my judgment. So I probably didn't have the best ones to gauge for older. Just my experience. Um, and we were doing stuff we did some that were pretty close. But we did some that were pretty far away, and they jacked those jobs. I mean, we did one that was like a $30,000 job, I remember, and they messed that thing up so bad. I mean, grown man wanted to cry when I went and looked at that job. I had my foreman guy with me, and he's like, "What do you think we should do?" He's looking around too, and I'm like, I was just in awe. I said, "What we should do?" I said, "We need to rip everything back down," and I said, "And redo it." I said, I was so, that ain't gonna happen probably. So we're trying to make stuff, work. Brand new home builder, lost that account. Do ascending says, oh, it says that's the truth. That's the truth. What's up, Mr. Freeze? Ascending says, I've got 4 kids, raising them to be able to work on stuff, and we do have a little farm. Nice, nice. That's good, man. That's good. It's good to get those kids, man. You know how impressed I was. I could have my oldest one, Cora. Yeah, I had her on the. Did I have her? No, I don't think I've done any editing on that video yet. But on that, you'll see on that one, I had her running the Sky Track for me. She just came along to help for the day a little bit, just do a little bit of camera and stuff. And I had to go through a gate, and I had to drive the U-Haul truck, and I had to drive the machine. And I was thinking, you know what? I thought she can drive the machine because I have her drive the skidster all the time. And I do that for that reason. So she understands how to use the levers and hydraulics and understand. And that day it paid off. So I was happy that she was able to run it. So it was pretty cool. Da-da, da-da. Ever after entertainment. Ooh, 13-hour day. Oh man, come on. Tell us shoot me an email, shoot me a text. Let me know or put it in the comments. What was going on? Let's feel the pain. Let's feel the pain together. I know those, man. I've done those days, 13, 14, 17-hour days. Oh my gosh. You feel like you sometimes wish you could just be like the Terminator. You know what I mean? And just keep working. Your body's like so dead. You're just like, you get home and like the wife says something to you and you're like, shh. shh. We watch a movie. They got the shusher stick. I'm going to get the shusher stick. You don't understand. Uh, Rich B. He says, Dave, that's called. He's on the spectrum. He says, we used to call it not a full deck, a full deck. Yeah, full deck cards, man. It was like really weird, man. Like he had a brother too, and the reason I caught him is I had a storage unit, and when I was there doing stuff, I seen him working, like unloading a lady, and I was like, dude, I need some guys. So I like walked up to him, I was like, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, we just do odd jobs and stuff. And I'm like, would you guys like want to work? And they're like, he's like, the one was like, yeah. So I got his number and I started bringing him on jobs. And he's a good dude, he's a good dude. It's just, but he's just like, he's just like, he'll literally like, we pull up to an intersection. If he sees one of our vans, he'll just hop in. He'll just like open the door, hop in. You'll be like sitting there on the phone, like, what the, who the okay, dude. Like, yeah. Hey, man, can you just give me a ride down the road? Okay. I remember one time, he normally would get a ride from his mom, and we're at the shop, and I could tell, like, I didn't think he had a ride lined up for something. Sometimes he'd ride the bus. And so I said, hey, man, I said, we're sitting there, and it's more or less like, I got to get paperwork done. I got to get crap done. So I'm more like, like, I just want to get this dude home, get him out of my hair. And so I'm like, hey, do you need a ride, tonight? And he's like, yeah, if you don't mind, I'm like, yeah, man, let's just hop in the old Raptor. And like, just hop in the Raptor. I'll take you down the road. And we're cruising, and he's like, actually, he goes, just stop at Taco Bell. He goes, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to eat. And I'm going to go to my friends. He's right across. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going to take him all the way across town. Sweet. All right. I'm like, all right, cool. So I park in there, right? And I park off to the side, they got their parking, and then they got like the roundabout for the drive through. I parked off kind of towards the back. And I remember he's sitting there and he's like, kind of like looks at me and he's like, well, can you, he did this. He goes, can you move up? And I'm looking at him and I'm like, am I being punked right now? Like, where's the cameras? I'm looking at him like, I just gave you a ride 3 miles down the road and you want me to pull up to the, I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. Like, I was so devastated. Like, I mean, like, I'm like, yeah, man, I can, like, I'm waiting for him to like slug me, I mean, I was just seeing if you do it. I was just joking. No, he was serious. I just gave you a ride 3 miles down the road. You want me to move up, 30, 40 feet to get you closer to the door? Okay. Just that kind of weird stuff. I was working with his brother. We did a job. We were doing a fence job. The builder came up. You know how the builder is, right? Just men in general, right? We're just poking each other, just having fun. And he said something. He goes, "Oh, he's finally got this guy to come out work." I said, I only can get him once a month or something. I said something like that. He got offended. Next day, I'm like, "Where's what's his name?" "Oh, he wasn't real happy with what you said yesterday." I said, "But it's the truth." I said, "I can only normally get him once a month." I said, "To come work." I said, "He told me himself." And he's like, "Yeah, he wasn't real happy that you said that." Oh, okay. So you gotta watch what you say. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. What is this guy here? Tony. Dun-dun. Tony's guy. He says, it's like this, Dave. He says he has no experience and he stepped in and did his side. Oh, jump for a second. He says, I did one, he did the other. Wasn't afraid to even touch the brute winder. Nice, nice. That's why I'm glad Tony brings it up because honestly, that's why I'm a very big like I'd rather hire on personality and loyalty and trust and honesty and that those are like more important to me that you're not a thief, you're not a liar, you're truthful than anything, right? The other stuff I feel like I go, I always kind of joke around and say, you can train a monkey to do this, but that stuff is key. You know what I mean? The attitude, willing to learn, asking the right questions, the willingness, to try. That's so key. Because there's so many people have psychological problems that just don't understand that they're their own enemy, in this situation. And I'm one of those people, I'm more than willing to work with you or answer your questions or, I want you to do better. I want you to succeed. I want you to be smarter and better than me and faster. You know, that's what I'm always aiming for. I want you to teach me something. Um, so those are important. It's really important. So that's great though if they're willing to jump in and all that stuff. Do 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 do. Brutwinder, Tony is right. The young boys lack common sense. I'm 20 years old and I'm full of mistakes. It is weird to think about, how much more like I even take pride. But I have the years of experience, like doing the gate, right? Getting the conduit and getting the right fittings and making it so it's watertight. And just the little tricks, and it's a great feeling to have the confidence, it really is. So I get it, and when I was young too, I took corners, I cut corners, thinking, but when you look at stuff for longevity, um, you know, it just takes time, and you gotta be willing, if you're willing, and just don't stay where you're at and just keep progressively learning, you'll get there, you'll be better, you'll be smarter and faster in the future, and you won't make as many mistakes. I made a lot, I still make a lot, but I'm always looking now. I'm like, do I want to push that button? No, I don't want to push that button. You remember what happened last time? Oh yeah, I remember what happened last time. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ascending says oldest is 22, youngest is 15. My 19-year-old daughter worked construction with me the last 4 years, all about teaching them while they're young. That is very true. That's good. That's good for you. That's amazing. That's awesome. Honestly. Uh, he says, don't miss those 13-hour plus days. I'm with you. I'm with you. It gets old after you can definitely get burned out. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. You listen to lot of weird songs. You want to consume a lot of different things. My problem is I don't like a lot of, but I tell you what, if I could, man, I would hit the stuff hard. You know, I don't know what I would do, but I'd hit it hard because sometimes you just want it to go away. Ever after he says, just a ride along with another garage door tech. Was that all you did? Rich says kids don't drive nowadays. They Uber. Isn't that weird? I'm glad Rich brought that up because we've had I think one or two in the extended family um that do kind of not want to drive. Even one was a boy. It's kind of weird to think about. Like just didn't have the urge. Just finally waited till whatever. I think you turn 18, you can kind of just take the paperwork test or something and you kind of get it. But it is kind of weird. But I mean, you think about it, we don't have the era of muscle cars and stuff like that anymore, and the dads cranking wrenches on them and all that kind of stuff. Or uh maybe they got more money now, they can get them fixed, they don't have to fix them themselves and be underneath of them. I don't know. I don't know. But I know like these, electric cars and that and that's the thing for me now too, is like cars don't do nothing for me anymore, for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like some old cars and stuff like that. I like looking at them and listening to them and all this kind of stuff. But I look at cars and I go, to me, it's a hammer. That's all it is. It's a hammer. I go, it's a tool. It's a devaluating, depreciating tool. It's how is this thing going to make me money? How's this going to make my life better? How's it going to make it easier? Um, and I think that's something happens a lot when you hit like at least 40. You realize that you're not out to impress the Joneses. You don't really care what people think about you. You don't need to. You're more. How do I say it? You're more comfortable in your own skin. The only person you're trying to impress is yourself. And it's great. It's a good feeling. It's not a bad thing. It's just, but you also realize that your body's not feeling the same as it used to, and you're, just want to run marathons, and you get smarter. I think not everyone. No, not everyone. Ever After says, I have to leave at 6 a.m. to get to Twin Cities at 7:30. Got done with the ride along at 5:30 and then home at 7. replace springs on 3 doors and cables and bottom brackets. Dude, dang, dude, must be a lot of like driving. I wonder how many miles you put on, or like how far are these jobs apart. That's a that's a lot. Last call, what does it say? Last call of the day was a call out to customer's house to replace a battery on a keypad. Huh. 179. Replace the battery. Not bad. Um, interesting. Some people, everybody's in different levels in life. You know what I mean? I always tell the kids, joke around with it, wife and stuff. I always say, if you made like $5,000 a day, just comes in, just 5,000. I said, I don't even think I'd wash socks anymore. I said, I would just throw them away. I wouldn't wash them. I just buy. I'd be like, go. You want a new car today? Let's just go get a new car. I don't want to do an oil change. Let's just get another car. I mean, that's what money can do. Do. Sunday says, don't forget, reliable. A guy that shows up on time is huge nowadays. That's true. That's true, right? Um, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're 5 minutes late, right? Let's see here. Eric Scotty says, I hate Uber where I live. It's expensive AF. I also hate driving because everyone here drives like shit. He says, I had some of in a Dodge. Was this Intrepid will rear end me and drive off. Yeah. I don't think it's going to get any better, honestly, with driving. It's the same. It's the same around my neck of the woods too. People just, drive like complete jerks and idiots. I just normally back off nowadays. I'm like, whatever. You guys go kill yourself. Like you're riding, go around, whatever. It's not worth it. And if they got a dash cam or something, you go to do a brake check on them, and they do smack you. What am I going to gain? You know what I mean? It's like they're going to be like, cops going to go in their favor. They got the camera, this or that, or now I got a smucked up car, insurance goes up, blah 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 blah. There's a thing, if I can ever think of it, I don't know how to show it to you guys, but it's something talking about this guy I watched about in China, and it talks about why China people, like, nobody helps Chinese people. Like somebody gets hurt, falls down, like nobody helps each other. And for some reason, when I seen that, I went, oh my gosh, I could see that happen to the United States. I could see that kind of happening with me. It's kind of like almost like nowadays, it's like, it's not that I don't want to help. I like, but it's, how you see something and you're like, if I get involved, like now I'm going to have a cop knock on my door, or I got to be drug into court. And you're like, do I really want to deal with that? And it's just kind of sad the way society is going. Uber parents would go out for the night and take the car out with my 12-year-old. That's okay. I remember I took out the truck one time, and the neighbor busted me on it. But I was out cruising around before I had my driver's license. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I was pretty young, and I had my dog with me. And my truck was pretty identical. You could identify it very easily. And I remember my aunt seen me in it and said I had a girl with me. He reported me to my mom that I had a female with me when it was my dog. I took my dog. We went cruising around. We went up north and stuff, and she must have seen us cruising somewhere and seen the. I forget it was. I think it was a Sheltie dog, a little Sheltie, and thought I had a chick with me. Oh, things that happen in the world. So, all good stuff. What time is it, guys? Let's see here. It's about 8:30. That's all right. Like I said, we'll give it a few more minutes. I gotta probably wrap her up. Got some stuff I gotta eventually go to sleep at some point. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Gonna try to get up, see if we can figure out that commercial opener tomorrow. We'll see if we get any little bit of footage on it or not. Haven't been in too good of situations lately to take any footage. So she had long hair. That's right. It was something with a blonde. That's what I remember. It was a blonde. He had a blonde with her. Dog was kind of I guess brown, dirty blonde, I guess you could call it, but nothing crazy. Just funny how people see things and they assume it's how it goes, right? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm gonna hop off here. Hope you guys have a good tomorrow's Wednesday. God darn it. I thought we were close to the weekend, but we're getting there. One snowflake at a time. So hope you do good in the storm, Rich. Let me know. Hopefully things you don't slip and slide too much. And that's right. Eric says good night. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments and emails and that. I'm gonna actually get back. I got a couple emails I gotta get back to. So I appreciate that. And thanks for all the questions and all that good stuff. So we'll see you on the next one. Make sure you guys keep your fingers, and we'll see you sometime around. Don't forget, you can always email me or text me pictures. I love them all. We'll see you later, alligator.